Today I'm going to share with you the basic step of cooking Chinese herbal soup. Once you master these few steps, you literally can cook any types of Chinese soup. Yeah, most of them, probably not all of them, but it is simpler than you think. I will also quickly talk about the health benefits of Chinese herbal bone broth or any bone broth. Let's get started. Hi everyone, if you are new here, my name is Shirley. I'm a Chinese medicine practitioner and a pharmacist in Australia. I have special interest in teaching how to use Chinese herbs at home effectively and most importantly, safely. If you like my videos and haven't subscribed yet, would love your support. And don't forget to click on the notification bell so you get notified when I upload new video. If you are from Asian country or have any exposure to Asian culture or cuisine, I'm pretty sure you have seen or tried one of those Asian soups. Some Chinese restaurants even serve them free at the beginning of your meals. Korean ginseng chicken soup is very popular in the West too. Asian soups are quite different from the soups in the Western cuisine. Chinese soups are usually clear broth without milk or cream. They could be bone broth, chicken or vegetable stocks with a variety of ingredients in it. And they are cooked for a long time, usually 1 to 2 hours, sometimes up to 3 to 4 hours, depending on the ingredient that you use or the health benefits you intend to achieve through cooking process. In Chinese cuisine, Chinese herbs are frequently added to the soup. Depending on which herbs you add to the soup, Chinese herbal soup are traditionally used for general well-being, for immunity, anti-aging, some even called beauty soup because it's supposed to be good for your skin. We also sometimes cook it to relieve some minor symptoms. The interesting thing is, recently there is quite a hype in the Western world about the health benefits of bone broth. Although various cultures around the world have been making bone broth for thousands of years now, in Chinese medical history, more than 2,500 years ago, the bone broth was already used to strengthen the Chinese medicine kidney and to support the digestive health. And it is a tradition that we continue to practice until these days. Recent studies shown that the vitamins, amino acid, minerals, including trace elements in bone and the related connective tissue have many health benefits. Some hippie places even have bone broth bars. There are downsides though. Please stay with me until the end of the video. I will share with you how to reduce or avoid those risks. Today I won't go into the recipe or the herbs that we use in Chinese herbal soups. Let me first share with you the basic step in cooking them. Later on when I share recipe in other videos, so I don't have to go through the same steps again. Okay, let's get started. First step, before cooking, I prefer to remove the fatty parts of the meat. In this instance, I use pork ribs, which tend to have more fat. Rinse the meat quickly under the running water to get rid of the excessive blood. And then put the bones or the meat in cold water. This is the blanching process. It is to get rid of the excess fat, blood, any other impurities, and the gamey flavor of the meat or the bones. Please note, not into boiling hot water. Add 2 to 3 slices of ginger and a small amount of Chinese cooking wine, but cooking wine is optional. Both are to further remove the gamey taste of the meat. Turn the heat to high and then put the lid on but slightly ajar, as the fire in my kitchen tends to heat up really fast. Meantime, you can soak the herbs in cold water for a few minutes if you wish to remove the dust or the dirt, depending on the quality of your herbs. Now have a look. The water is not even boiled yet, the blood is already coming out from the ribs. This is after another 3 to 4 minutes. As you can see, the foam floating on top of the water is the blood and the impurities. Imagine this in your soup. That's why the blanching process is important, as you want your soup base to be clearer and taste cleaner. It is also to allow the Chinese herbal flavor to emerge and not overwhelmed by the meat gamey taste. After another 2 to 3 minutes to ensure most of the impurities are out, now we can take the ribs out. Rinse the ribs or the bone quickly under running water, and now the ribs are ready for cooking. Fill the pot with water up to about 80% full. Bring the water to boil, and now you can add the ribs or the meat or the bones plus the Chinese herbs in the water. Please don't add any seasoning right now. Traditionally, we prefer the original taste of the herbal soup as they should be already quite flavorful. You can add a couple of slices of ginger. We can add seasoning at the end if you wish. Let all the ingredients boil at high heat for about 15 to 20 minutes or so. I like my soup more concentrated, so I prefer to leave the lid ajar again. After that, please turn the heat down to medium to low. However, not too low. You should be able to see the little bubbling on the water. At this time, you can set a timer at about 30 to 45 minutes. In case you forget, do make sure to come back to check from time to time. Also take this opportunity to remove the fat or the oil that float to the top of the water. If the water level is getting too low, you can also add water, but make sure the water is hot water and not cold water. After the first check at 30 to 45 minutes mark, have a taste to see how you like it, and then you can decide how much longer you want to cook the soup. Like I said before, some soups are cooked for about 3 to 4 hours, some about 1 to 2 hours should be enough. Once the cooking is done, you now can add a small amount of salt or pepper to your own liking. And that's it. These are the basic steps of cooking Chinese herbal soup. These are only the basic steps. In a very specific recipe, there might be other steps required or different steps required. I will tell you then. Although I'm sure many of you might have slightly different cooking approach or techniques, please share your tips in the comment below. In the beginning of the video, I talked about the possible downsides of the soup. It is not really caused by the Chinese herbs. Mostly it's the meat or possibly bone that we use to make it. Two important notes: if you have gout or prone to gout attacks, please be careful. This is because some studies shown that the purine in the meat that we use to make the broth may transfer from the meat to the soup base during the cooking process. Those who are gout sufferers understand what I'm talking about. High content purine in the food may aggravate the gout issue. I would suggest two ways to reduce the risk if you are a gout sufferer. First is easy, just use vegetable broth. Of course, is the low purine vegetables with the Chinese herbs, especially during gout attack. No meat or especially no red meat, okay? In regards to bone, the general consensus is they still have purine in there. So when I was doing this video, I was very curious, so I did a bit of search and I found that there are some blogs or even articles talked about bone broth might be okay, or even they claim that might be good for gout. I am not too sure about that because I can't find any clinical study to prove that. So gout sufferers usually they know their body well, they know what food aggravated. I will ask you to pay attention if you start drinking bone broth or any Chinese herbal soup that use bone to make the base of the soup. If you notice you start to have the pain or the sensation that the gout might be coming soon, then I would say stop it. Yeah, so common sense. And usually if the gout is not very severe, it's not that you have to completely eliminate meat in your diet. A small amount is okay. So one more trick is don't cook the broth for too long, about 1.5 hours and no more than 2 hours, and don't eat the meat in the soup. So basically the idea is the longer that you cook, the purine in the meat will transfer from the meat into the soup. Studies shown. I read a few academic studies. So if you cook shorter time, the purine will stay in the meat and not in the soup base. So you drink the soup, but you don't eat the meat. Yeah, makes sense? As for those who have high cholesterol, please make sure that you skim off the layer of the fat that float to the top of the soup. So you can constantly keep doing it throughout the cooking process, or if you save the soup for the next couple of days meals, then you will notice when you take out from the fridge, there is a layer of fat that congeal on top. That's you just skim it off. That will help to reduce the fat content in your soup. If generally we are healthy, that's fine. We do need to have a bit of fat for general well-being. But if you have high cholesterol, those are the ones that you need to make sure you clean it off. And of course, if the meat that you use, such as chicken, just make sure you take the skin off before you cook. If the meat that you buy has a big part of fatty tissues on the side, maybe you just clean it off before you put it in the soup to cook. I hope those make sense. And that's all for me for today for this topic. And it's year end now, and I know many of you who live in the Northern Hemisphere like the US, in the Europe, and many of you who live in Asia, including Malaysia, where my hometown is, are subjected to some form of restrictions. It is so near to festive season and the new year. I know it is very heartbreaking to not be able to see your family or loved one, or less opportunity in general. Nonetheless, please take very good care of yourself and stay safe. And for those who are in the Northern Hemisphere, I know you are right in the middle of the winter now, so don't forget I have a video on how to look after yourself during winter. I also have redesigned the slides for you to download, so do go to my website and look for the winter wellness slide. I would love to connect with you in Instagram if you're active there, or Facebook. We can have more chats over there. Or just feel free to leave any comments, questions in the comment below. Share your tips, your special recipes. Oh yes, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and also like the video if you like my content, and share with your friends if you think that might enjoy the information I share here in this channel. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Bye!